Bismillah, I would like to welcome you back in the part 2 of this lecture of today's, the first chapter, the field of organizational behavior. It's Management 512, Organization Behavior and Leadership. And we are in the second part of this lecture that talks about this important field. And we talked about, just to summarize quickly what we talked about, that, organization behavior, there are 3 levels of analysis: individuals, and groups, and organization. And we said that organization behavior consists of several disciplines, okay: psychology, sociology, economic, anthropology, management, and political science. We talked about the XY theory, okay, that X type of people are lazy, don't like to work, while the Y type of people are responsible and like to work. And we talked about system, input, process, output, with the process of feedback. We stopped before the break, or before the about the some prominent trends, and part of this trends are this increasing diverse workforce. The shifting demographics of the workforce trends toward diversity. And modern organizations have taken steps to accommodate and capitalize on growing level of diversity within the workforce. It's also the case that Americans today are living longer, healthier lives than their parents and the grandparents, keeping them in the workforce longer than before. These trends take many forms, all of which have important implication for the field of organizational behavior. Interestingly enough, if we see, as in this chart, that the relative percentage of whites is expected to decline, okay, over the this is the between 2005 to 250, while the Black, Hispanic origins, Asian and Pacific Asia, and American Indian expect to this relative percentage of other groups is expected to grow. Very interesting, this mix. Now, wherever you go, any part of the world, you will, except China, of course, you will find mixed labor force. People migrate where the business industry is, and you always have interesting mix of workforce. Gulf countries is a good example of having so many people from so many world, they come and work here, okay? Europe the same, Middle East in general the same, United States here to what extent, as I just discussed with you in this exhibit, the same, except for China, that it is it has different ethnicity, but they are all Chinese, I think, because of also with India, okay? You might not find that as obvious. Now, with this, these are some of the trends, okay, that we find more women are in the workforce than ever before. Racial and ethnic diversity is becoming a reality, okay? And we have also childcare facilities are growing, again, to accommodate employees. Elder care facilities are also becoming part of organizations or big organizations. Personal support policies, people living and working, as we just stated, longer than before. And we have what we call the baby boom generation, and this is the generation of children born in the economic boom period of the following World War. Now, by the late 20th century, since organizational behavior emerged, we have noticed more interest in this field to make business more efficient. As we said, engineer trying to make machine more efficient, organization behavior trying to make this human is more efficient, okay? Infotech for sure affect a lot of aspects of organization behavior. Modern tech changes how managers operate. Organization behavior, because of that, responds to the rise of globalization diversity. So, and the world has become so connected, as we said, so fragile and vulnerable, okay? Therefore, international business and the global economy, and we have multinational organization that we discussed earlier, adjusting to foreign culture. And we discussed also the concept of convergence hypothesis, convergence, okay, that everything in America or American practice would work everywhere. While convergence, you have to also know that you have to know about other cultures. Very important, okay? Now, the shifting demographics of workforce, the trends of today's diversity, as we said, more women in workforce than ever before, and racial and ethics diversity is become a reality, and people are living and working longer than ever before. Organization behavior responds to advances in technology, and we have what we call a leaner organization. Responding to technological changes, leaner organization creation, we have what we call downsizing and outsourcing, and we have what we call virtual organization creation, and we have increasing telecommunication. The effect of globalization implies that we need to know more about others, and we need to know more about cultures, okay? And as we said, world become small village, okay? Therefore, and world become very much interconnected, more than before. Just like I brought you the example of the COVID-19, shows how much the world is connected, and the whole world literally paralyzed, during that time, and now is affecting a lot of aspects of the business and economics, and very interesting, okay? Therefore, responding to these technologies, responding to these crises, organization behavior start, giving good guidelines. We have to look at organization differently, okay? And we have to have what we call leaner organization creation. Now, for instance, organization concentrate in the core business. If it is oil company, it has to concentrate in its core business and outsource everything else. It's not the job of oil company to have hospitals. It's not the job to do real estate development. It has to concentrate on the. It's not the job of a oil company to have broadcasting TV. It's not their job. Therefore, this is what we mean by concentration on the. And for that reason, companies a lot, especially after COVID-19, we have some what we call it downsizing. We have outsourcing. We had what we call even virtual organization, and we have increasing telecommuting use, which is going to work without leaving home. Okay. Now, as organization behavior responds to advance in technologies, okay, a more work is shifted to digital brain. Some work that once was performed by human brain become obsolete. At the same time, new opportunities arise as people securely to find their footings and shifting to high-tech revolution. Linear downsizing, linear organization. We have downsizing and outsourcing, and we have what we call it. The downsizing is the process of adjusting the number of employees needed to work in a newly designed organization. Downsizing. I decrease the number of people who work to fit my core need or my exact need. Downsizing. Sometimes they call it resizing or right sizing. Downsizing is the same as right sizing. Outsourcing. Anything else that I can have somebody else do it for me, I outsource it. I am oil company or providing electric services, anything somebody else can do it for me, I outsource it. This is called outsourcing. Outsourcing is the process of eliminating those parts of organization that focus on non-core sector of the business. For example, tasks that are parallels to the organization and hiring outside firm to perform these functions inside. Now there is a when people go ahead and when they go to work in other country, they will go through a stage of adjusting, and that adjustment takes a U shape. Okay, now this U shape, okay, depending on the months, okay, one, two, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and these are acceptance of a new culture. And this is the number of months. Okay. And the start, when a person go, he is very much optimism. Then within the first 3 months, he go down to the lowest, okay? And this is what we have shock, culture shock. And then he goes back to normal within 6 months. He start understanding and accepting other culture. Accepting other culture. So when a person or expatriates or somebody goes to other culture, at the beginning, when he start, he's very excited about it. Then he decline. Okay, he feels that he's away from his country, and then he got like a shock, what am I doing here? Did I make the right choice? And then start accepting, and by 6 months, things goes back to normal. Okay, there is a two books actually that one of them talks about this future shock, and this for Alvin Toffler, okay, called the Future Shock. Very, very, very interesting book, talks about this phenomenon concept, okay. Actually talks about what's going to happen in the future. And another book by Nasbet, he talks about mega trends, that how is the business converted into mega projects or mega trends, okay. We talked about the downsizing. We talked about outsourcing. Virtual organization now is becoming very popular, especially after what we've been through with this COVID-19. We have virtual emergence or emerges lots of virtual organizations, okay, or virtual offices. And we have, as a result, organization behavior responsive to people changes and expectation. And we have also, accordingly, a flexibility of work, okay? Virtual organization, a highly flexible temporary organization formed by a group of companies that join forces to exploit a specific opportunity. Telecommuting, or going to work without leaving home, it's very interesting also. That's becoming more and more popular. As a result, organization behavior is responsive to people changing expectation. Employees and employers desire engagement. And engagement, it's a mutual commitment. That's very important. Commitment between employee and employers to do things that help one another achieve each other goals and aspiration. All of that is in search of flexibility, which is responding to needs of the employees. But there is a high cost of active disagreement. In this regard, for instance, you go like these 23 employees who are actively designated or disengaged at work comprise about 17% of American workforce. We have like 23.3 million employees, cost their organization between $323 billion and $417 billion annually due to lost productivity. Very important to get people engaged in the work and like the work so that they will be productive and become efficient and produce for the company, okay? Now, we have, as a result, as we said, we have a compressed work week, the practice of working fewer days each week, but longer hours each day. This is for 10 hours per day, and you have more, extra weekends, okay, or longer weekend, okay. We have flex time programs, policies that give employees some discretion over when they can arrive and leave at work, thereby making it easier to adapt their work schedules to the demands of their personal lives. We have what we call contingent workforce. Contingent workforce. which is contingent workforce, which is people hired by organization temporarily to work as needed for finite period of time. And this is, as we said, this is increasing, changing expectation, increasing engagement, and increasing flexibility. And as we just discussed, compressed work hours and job sharing. We have also something called idealistic or idiocentric work arrangement, which is ideals. Okay, this is unique, customized agreement negotiated between individuals, employee, and their employees within respect to employment term benefits for each party. We have something called job sharing, which is a form of regular part-time work in which two or more employees assume the duties of a single job, splitting its responsibility, salary, and benefits in proportion to the time worked. And we have what we call volunteer reduced work time, which is V time programs, just program that allows employees to reduce the amount of time they work by certain amount, which is typical 10 to 20%, with a proportional reduction in pay. All these type of flexibility has emerged because of organizational behavior. And with this slide, okay, now the last promotional trends respond to changing expectation is the quality revolution, okay? Total quality management, benchmarking. There has been big stress on the quality, how to provide better quality with less cost, okay? And then we start looking at quality as a total for the whole thing in the input, process, output, okay? And benchmarking, you usually take the best in the industry and put it as bench for you and try to reach that best. That's why the benchmarking now, we see almost luxury cars, just similar to each other. You cannot even tell the difference. As a result, we have what you call it Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award. This is an award in the United States that awarded for the companies who meets these standard and to meet quality standard, social standard, and it is highly recognized award in the United States. By this, we conclude our first chapter, and I hope to see you next class in chapter 2. I usually divided my session into 40-45 minutes apart, so that part 1 and part 2, so that you are able to take a break and we are able to see to get the whole chapter. With this conclusion, I tell you thank you very much. And this session took 24 minutes. And this is part 2 of, again, part 2 of the first chapter, the field of organizational behavior. Thank you very much and good night. You have a good evening.